Hello everybody, I am AngryBird. We're back today with another Steel Division 2 League game. This is Group 1 and this is game number 1, Shaun versus Lossa. Glad to have you back with us. I hope you're enjoying the cast so far. If you have, drop me a like at the end of this video if you like this one as well, and if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. You can check out all the previous casts in the Steel Division 2 playlist, which should be linked in the description. Today's game we have Shaun, who's playing the 25th Panzer Grenadier Regiment. He's playing Vanguard Income, and he's up against Lossa, who's playing Group Hartnick, also playing Vanguard Income. So up on screen we have Shaun's deck, and he is definitely going to be relying on those early light recon vehicles, although actually if we look on the top right of the screen, not really placing many of them down. It looks like maybe two in the bottom left corner, but I would think he will rely on those cheap early units, especially on this Boba map, which tends to be an infantry map, and the light vehicles can zip in and out of the buildings, you know, in the built up city area. So I would expect to see him relying on those. His main tanks in the game are the Stugs, and that's going to be difficult coming up against Lossa playing Group Hartnick. He has the Tigers, which completely outclass the Stugs, but they are more expensive, so this could well come down to a case where Shaun is trying to use cheaper units than Lossa in the Group Hartnick deck. I think to take out those Tigers, he's going to be relying on the ME410s in the air tab. He's got 2 in B and 4 in C, and potentially also the Pack 40s and the Pack 43s that he's got in the deck. So let's have a look at Lossa. His deck, as we said, Group Hartnick, and he does also have a couple of light recon units with the VK901s. I love those units. And the 39 Sea Sabres, but really they don't stand up to the light recon units on the side of Shaun. He's certainly going to be relying on his infantry to try and outclass Shaun's infantry, and I think Group Hartnick can definitely do that. The Reiter Jaeger or the Reiter Jaeger MP44 version's probably the best infantry in this matchup, and certainly the Hungarian infantry that Lossa can bring in B phase. Very beefy squads, although he does have them up vetted at 1 star. So in fact all of his infantry is up vetted in 1 star, so he could lose out overall on the numbers game. He does have 2 Tigers in A phase, 2 in B and 4 in C, and they're going to be the best for this best tank in this matchup. So we'll see how that comes into play. Right, the game is going. Let's jump straight into it and have a quick look at the deployments. Looks like Shaun is going heavy into the northern side, launching attacks over the water or over the river, and Lossa actually doing exactly the same. So both players setting up defensive in the southern areas and moving in for the attack in the northern sides. So let's keep an eye on this northern side for the first engagement, and Shaun's actually got a 233 that's lagging behind. I think he mismicroed that with the order at the start, so potentially lagging a bit behind. The IG-18's coming in, and potentially a massive push across both rivers. So both players now pushing across the rivers. Let's look in the northern side. Stosstruppen unloading in the face of Panzer Grenadiers. A hell of a lot of action here. Pin down Battery Fuhrer. That's going to need to be taken out to surrender these units. Very interesting start. There's all the surrenders. Wow, look at that. Unbelievable. On this middle bridge, it looks like Shaun unloaded just before committing. Down goes the IG and the Pack 40 as well. I believe that was a Pack 40, maybe a Pack 38. But in comes Shaun with the ME410 A1, although not dropping its bombs and circling around again to try and target the Stormtrooper. Another IG-18 going down, and this is looking rather good for Lossa. Another one pinned down from the Jagdpanzer 38T at the back, and the Panzer T-34's progressing forward as well. Down goes another IG, and Shaun's commandant is in real trouble. If that gets spotted, then certainly a big target to lose at the very start of this game. The 234's cresting the hill, taking down the SPW, and wow, Lossa has just completely demolished Shaun's entire starting force. He just needs to discover this commandant and every single one of Shaun's units will have gone down. He has now discovered them, although Shaun micros them out of harm's way, and he will want to get rid of them. Lossa not committing further, and in comes an SPW 233. Down goes the commandant. That's all of the starting forces. Lossa taking a commanding start in this northern area. So down in the south, it looks like Shaun has pushed across the river, and only Stormtrooper in Shaun's way for the Panzer Grenadiers. I don't feel like Stormtrooper are going to win out there, so Lossa has to cover off this sort of central area, but it looks like Micro all going into the northern side at the minute because Shaun has not moved his Flammenwerfers forward. You'd expect him to be progressing through this forest now. The Panzer Grenadiers do spot the Stormtrooper and open fire, and those Stormtrooper are going to go down. Yeah, Lossa has to find a way to cover off that position, but he is 13-11 up. The reinforcements for Shaun have now come into this northern side. The SPW 233 just staying out of range, and these T-34s, well, one of them now suppressed, and it looks like it's the Pak 3850mm doing most of that work. Yes, it does go down now. The Reiter Jaeger MP44 is also in trouble, and the SPW 233 advancing. But here comes Lossa's reinforcements, although they are all armoured. The Jagdpanzer 38T, that will certainly give Shaun something to worry about. He does have that Pak 3850 with the APCR, which it looks like he's actually got that turned off, so fantastic micro to save those APCR shells until he needs them. The Stug and the VK901, although that is transmission destroyed. More infantry coming, and Lossa advancing across the river now with his Stormtrooper trying to pick up another flag. Potentially he could do that. In comes the ME410 again. This time I think it did manage to get its bombs away, and actually takes out the Jagdpanzer. What a brilliant move there, and down goes the T-34 as well. So Lossa, he needs to really get reinforcements into this northern side immediately. The Tiger is on the way, but it is slow to make its way up there. The VK901s as well as the Sea Sabres are coming in, trying to get more units in there as quickly as possible. The Panzergrens in the truck are coming across the river, but he has to get these units in. The Stug is coming up, but there's just so many of Shaun's units already reinforced this position that the Stug's got so many targets that easily this Pak 38 could get a side shot if he turns in the wrong direction. It looks like Shaun is now pushing forward his own Stug to try and take on Lossa's, and well, Lossa's only got one unit and he's taking a lot of hits from these SPW 231s, just overwhelming him with suppressive fire really, and there's no anti-tank on Lossa's infantry, so he can't take out this Stug 3G with his infantry. The Reiter Jaegers and Panzergrens are coming in, and here comes the ME410. Beautiful move, fantastic, taking down that Stug. That's just what Lossa needed, but he has to worry about Shaun's Air Force potentially could reply on that. The centre ground, Lossa did push across the river, but this flag is quite far back and he's going to find it difficult to take it down. The Jagdpanzer 38T coming in, and these Reiter Jaegers, look at this, flanking right round this hilled position. In comes Lossa's ME109 G4 to potentially take on the ME410, and Lossa's got to be careful because he has no anti-air, so this could stray over. Shaun potentially could get a decent kill here. So the ME410 looks like it was going in for another run. Lossa then spotted the aircraft, and this ME410 is in trouble now. In comes Lossa's own ME109 G6, and that will at least provide him with the ability to take on the air force of Shaun. So Shaun microing his... He has now switched the targets back onto this ME-109 G6, and it feels like Lossa needs to take out that fighter to get this ME-410 back into play. And it looks like a bit of a turn fight at the moment. The ME-410 as well not targeting at this point. And all of the light vehicles on the side of Lossa have now come into play, as well as the Stug 3G, and this is a very interesting engagement. The Reiter Jaeger have flanked around and got themselves into positions, but no flags being taken really, and the 12-12 on the side of Shaun, he is holding the 12-12, so Lossa, although he has a foothold across the map, he hasn't got the advantage at the moment, and more aircraft coming in, more fighters coming in from Shaun. He really wants to take this ME-410 down, and I feel like this is it now. This last ME-109 coming in is going to get the killing blow. Yes, there it goes, radiator damaged, down it goes. The infantry getting taken out on the northern side, but this Tiger E now in place, it has to worry about the PaK-38, and down goes the PaK-38, so nothing else that can take the Tiger down. In comes Shaun's own ME-410, I believe, with the bombs, and does release, but not a killing blow this time. Infantry needs to come in for Lossa, and here comes the Reiter Jaeger just in time, as well as the Reiter Jaeger 40 MP44 on the top. And look at the territory gain that Lossa's got from these MP44s flanking round. This is fantastic movement, but Shaun actually at a 13-11 now because he's picked up this flag again, and Lossa's got to be careful moving this Tiger forward. Luckily Shaun's Panzergrenz don't have any anti-tank on them, but really he needs infantry revealing the positions of Shaun's unit, and down goes one Reiter Jaeger in the transport. He needs to unload and does so. In comes another VK901, and up comes a PaK-3850, which will definitely be a threat to this Tiger E, and potentially could get a decent side shot immediately straight off the bat if Lossa is unlucky here. So in it comes, turret stuck. Oh, that is real bad. So the Tiger E micros back round to face, and now Lossa reversing this back potentially will bring in a support truck to try and fix that up. He does have one on the way already, but surprised by its movement order, I guess he's looking to fix up this Jagdpanzer 38T, but Lossa does manage to get himself this flag over the river, and it is now a 12-12 once again. So this is very much a Lossa on the advance here in the early game, which was unexpected. I was expecting kind of Shaun to do the work, but Lossa definitely getting a foothold across the river. He has to worry about these two Reiter Jaegers, because if they go down, then this entire area will fall back to Shaun. And Shaun really is just trying to pick off units here and there and do his best to get rid of these bridgeheads that Lossa's managed to gain. The FK288 is moving forward, and I guess it's trying to get in a position to tackle the SDKFZ 250-10s, and Lossa, although he's over the river in a number of places, he's not picked up flags. This is the only flag he's picked up across the river now, and Shaun's going to be targeting that, and once he gets rid of these units, Shaun will have the advantage by capturing this flag here. It looks like Lossa potentially now retargeting this position, but he needs to get this area back off Shaun. Otherwise he could find this flip quite quickly. And it looks like Shaun now potentially, no, I thought he was going to make an attack across the river, and Lossa's got this mortar unit moving very strangely, very far forward. I'm quite surprised by that positioning of that unit. I guess he's looking to use the radio, but he could well lose it to the SPW 233 here. He has actually stopped that unit, and it is protected by the buildings. The Opel Blitz munition moving back as well. So Lossa's saving some units there and actually taking his Stug back across the river, and it looks like the Tiger went down. We missed the Tiger going down there, which was unfortunate. It was backing away and must have been taken down on the way back, probably by the Pak 38 50mm. So Lossa, he has kind of been beaten back across the river. He has to recover this position here and potentially, you know, reinforce his bridgehead if he can, but it's looking difficult right now. The Opel Blitz munitions, dangerous movement forward there, but luckily just managed to sort of make its way through. Shaun microing Panzergrens across, but the machine gun from the SDKFZ mortar half track there engaging Shaun's Panzergrens. That will reveal the location of this mortar, and I'd expect Shaun will want to try and take that out. The right EA got only 2 men in this forest. It does have the 9 MP44s, but they will go down. The mortar now being used to try and take those units out, and actually Shaun picks up this sort of centre flag and he's immediately reinforcing, and this looks like a difficult prospect for Lossa. His units are slow to reinforce and that's hurting him right now. The mortar is on the retreat, doesn't want to get taken out by this 250/8. Will it make it out? Shaun bringing the Panzergrens in and will pick up and reinforce this position quite nicely. Down goes one of the infantry in the Hungarian infantry in the transports. We are now in B phase, but those infantry slow to reinforce. Although the Stug 3G is probably one of the heaviest units here. The VK901 now making its way back across the river, and Lossa's looking in trouble in that central area. He is trying to pick up this southern side again and defend against Shaun's movements there. There's only a Panzergren and a Flemmenwerf, so he should be able to try and pick this position back up with the units that he's got there. Hopefully he can do that. It looks like the Stug being engaged by the Pak 38 50, and that will be an interesting one to see who can win this one out. Transmission destroyed on the Stug now, and Shaun trying to retreat that Pak 38 50 out the way. One more shot comes in, it should go down. Yes, it does, and at least that's relieving some of the anti-tank gun pressure on Lossa, but he has to get rid of this reinforced northern position that Shaun has now found himself in, and Lossa, if he lets this continue and lets more units reinforce across this river, it can be real difficult digging these units out. At the moment, all of his front line are armoured units, and he needs to get some reinforcing infantry back in there. Here come the 3 fighters of Shaun trying to take on these Sea Sabres. They do fall one of them back, but the other one now engaging the Stoss troop. It's going to be interesting to see who wins out in that, because he's only got the machine gun there able to fire on it. The Stoss troop and seemingly not caring and just moving forwards. The fighters coming in and clearing up one Sea Sabre, so we'd like to see some anti-air. Here comes the SDKFZ 7-1 in, and that will be able to provide some decent anti-air. The Stug now engaging down the road against these 233s, and that's a decent move here. Shaun's infantry, well, initially he has the Panzergrens, but he's now brought in the Panzergrens with the Panzerfaust, so Lossa has to be careful, because he might be relying on the fact that he's seen no anti-tank on Shaun's infantry at the moment. Surely this second 233 will go down. Yes, it does. And that at least takes the light vehicles out the picture, and there's only the infantry left. Shaun has managed to sneak a Pak 40 into this forest, and that will definitely challenge the Tiger. We'll have to watch out for that engagement, as well as the Stug as well. Potentially that Pak 40 could well take that Stug out, and then the Tiger straight after. The fighters, I think, potentially were they strafing the Stug 3G or perhaps the SDKFZ 7-1, but will now have more trouble, or Shaun will now have more trouble. And look at that, somehow he's spotted the support truck and using the ME410 to take that down. That was decent, a decent move. Shaun's put the Pak 40 on to, I believe that's return fire, so he wants to wait for the right moment to use it. Now taking it off to engage the Stug and then follow up against the Tiger. Look at that beautiful micro there, lining up anti-tank shots with this Pak 40. Gets the driver gun or driver kill on the Stug, and Lossa can't see that unit at the moment, so he's not re-engaging. The crew panic now, and that Stug's going to go down. There it goes. So now it re-micros onto the Tiger, and reinforcing Panzergrens with the Panzerfaust coming in to just make life much more difficult for Lossa. Shaun now has the 13-11 and will win the game in 25 minutes if nothing changes at this point. Lossa fighting back through the forest, but will have difficult time against the Pioneers and the Flammenwerfers. Shaun's not really moved those units from the start of the game, and wow, look at the reinforcement that he's bringing in. He does not want to lose this forest area. Reinforcing with a hell of a lot of Pioneers, infantry, Stosstruppen, more light vehicles coming in, and a Stug 3G Führer. Lossa trying to get his Jagdpanzer 3018 into a position where he can overlook this approach, but the Pak 40 is there as well, and that will fire, I believe, as soon as this Panzer reveals itself. The loader kill, yeah. It's interesting. It looks as if he didn't have the line of sight, but he did. It was firing at that point. So very interesting there. It's almost, that's a beautiful position that's not even showing on the line of sight that you can kill units in that area. Shaun using the map knowledge to his advantage there. The Flammenwerfers are being taken out. The Pioneers have gone down. The Reiterjägers with those MP44s and the MP40s doing quite a good job here. So more Flammenwerfers coming in for Shaun. He definitely does not want to lose this forest position. These Flammenwerfers are going to go down as well. Just a matter of time. But here comes that reinforcing Stosstroop, and they have the Molotov cocktails as well, and they will pose a good threat to these Reiterjägers. So we have the ME410 coming in to take on this Stug, and once the player on the left hand side of this map takes up this position on this ridge, it's really difficult for the person on the right hand side to get them out of this position. It's definitely an advantage, and I feel like really this map, wow, I feel like this map definitely does give an advantage to the player on the left hand side as we look at it. So more Flammenwerfers coming in, and Loss is going to find that position. He's going to get overwhelmed. Pioneers moving forwards, revealing the Reiterjäger MP44s, and the SDKF said 250-10s. Are they? They're trying to follow the Pioneers, but they can't get them. This is interesting that Shaun's given them the micro to follow the Pioneers. Very interesting choice there. I don't know whether that was like a missed micro when he pressed it, or whether he'd done that on purpose, but down goes one of the Reiterjägers, and all the Flammenwerfers here will take down the other one as well, that's for sure. Some more Hungarian infantry coming in, but Lossa finding it difficult, and Shaun being able to reinforce the area. He has the Pak 40 and the Stug in position to shut down these reinforcement roads, and Lossa, he's going to have to bring in these Tigers, but the more Pak 40s that Shaun sets up, or AT guns, the worse this is going to get for Lossa, because although his Tigers can easily take on the Stugs, they are going to suffer against the Pak guns. Two ME410s coming in, trying to target the Stug, and wow, Lossa surrendering the game there, 21 minutes and 8 seconds. I mean, I'm kind of surprised by the surrender at that point, but I guess Lossa felt that he couldn't recover that position, and it definitely looked bleak for Lossa. I feel like his initial attack across the river in that northern section really caught Shaun by surprise, and he took out Shaun's entire starting force, including the commandant. But Lossa, he just wasn't able to reinforce quick enough and get his infantry and his, supporting vehicles up onto that hill quick enough. Shaun was able to reinforce, and he picked off the units that did come in from Lossa, and then he managed to get himself back into the game. And yeah, I guess when Lossa surrendered, I feel like maybe economy wise he was struggling, and he couldn't bring in units to counter Shaun's advance across the river, and potentially he just saw the writing on the wall there and gave up sooner rather than continuing to fight a bad position. So Shaun picks up the victory. Let's have a look at the team stats. Shaun getting 2,300 kills to 1,200 losses, and that's very surprising. I didn't feel like that was going to be the outcome from this game. Really surprising he's picked up so many, such a difference in kill death ratio there. Let's have a look at the kills on the side of Shaun. So that Pak 3850 did take the light units out, the 39M Sea Sabres and the Panzer T34. That was one of the reinforcing Pak 38 guns. And like I said, Lossa, he just wasn't able to reinforce that position. Perhaps the 39 Sea Sabres, were they the right pick? I'm not sure. I don't take them in my group partnering deck, but I know a lot of people do take these units. The problem with them, I believe, is they only have the anti-tank rifle and then the machine gun, so taking on a Pak 38 once it's unloaded, it's a lot more difficult than an autocannon unit that Shaun has on his side, like the 231s. So Shaun definitely using his air force to kind of hold back the airplay from Lossa, and Lossa did, we saw in previous games against Here Robert, Lossa using his air force to great effect, so Shaun definitely shut it down and did well there. And this Pak 3850 taking out the Tiger E and the VK901 along with 3 Huzaroks. I believe they were in the transports. So this Pak 38 came in, and this Tiger E was the was on the northern side where Lossa had tried to retreat it, and obviously it eventually got taken out, and then the Huzaroks were reinforcing, and once the player on the left hand side, as we were looking at it, gets into the position where they can get some tanks or anti-tank guns on that ridge, it's really hard to bring in more units to take on that position, because the Pak guns are firing so far back on the support lines that they can take out advancing infantry in the support trucks with ease. The SDKF said 250/10 taking out the Jagdpanzer 38T. That's a big kill. I wonder whether that was stressed out or I'm not sure, but that's a big kill from that SDKF said half track. And then the ME109 G4, that's the fighter variant, I'm sure it is. Yes, that is the fighter variant. So taking out an Opel Blitz munition, great work there. And then the ME410 fighter bomber variant, that took out the Opel Blitz munition as well. So really denying loss of those supply units, and I think he was bringing those in to try and fix up some of his armoured units once they'd taken hits, taken critical hits. The Pak 40, this was in the centre that lined up that attack, beautiful attack orders onto the Stug, and then the Tiger, and then the mortar at the back. So he did take out both the Stug and the Tiger there, and actually, yeah, some really nice kills from Shaun. On the Lossa's side of it, well, the early starting force, a lot of it was Ersatztruppen and the battery fuels that got taken out, as well as the Panzergrenz. Certainly, Lossa's infantry did great work at the start, and I think it caught Shaun completely off guard. The Commandant went down. That was a big kill, taking away that veterancy, and it's a very expensive unit to lose early on in that game. When you're bringing in a Commandant in Phase A, you want that unit to last the entire game, so having that lost very early on was such a blow to Shaun, but Lossa wasn't able to capitalise. The Stug taking out some 233s and the Ersatztruppen in the centre, and then yeah, the Reiter Jaeger, you know, taking out some Flammenwerfers, but was eventually overwhelmed. So yeah, Lossa actually, it was so interesting that he took out the entire starting force of Shaun, but then kind of just didn't go well for him after that point. He clearly just didn't get the kills after that point, and very interesting. I'm not entirely sure, you know, why that was, why he couldn't capitalise. Perhaps, you know, if you saw something in that replay that I didn't, you know, write it down in the comments and we'll discuss it after. But that was game 1, Shaun versus Lossa, and Shaun picks up the victory. And in game 2, Shaun also picked up the victory, and we're not going to cast that one because I want to catch up to current time, and I want to catch, you know, I want to cast other games, so I'm not going to cast that one. But Shaun picked up the victory in game 2 and won the matchup in full against Lossa, and therefore won all 3 points. Let's see, can we get a look at the results table? So Shaun picking up that victory, now has played 4 games and won 3 of them, drawn 1, so unbeaten, topping the table at 10 points. Solo Wing Pixie just behind with 1 win 1 draw with 4 points, and Lossa there, 3 games played, he's picked up 1 point, so he has to worry. He has to pick up potentially wins against Neff and Wolhati and Ambati, really, to try and secure his position in the league if, you know, if it continues next season. So hopefully you've enjoyed the cast. If you have, please drop me a like because it helps with the YouTube algorithm. Drop any comments you want to make about the game down below. I always read my comments and reply, and we have great discussion about the game. Also, if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe, because then you get all you get to see all the action when it's released. Finally, we've got plenty more casts to come, and keep your eyes out for the next video being released. Thanks very much for watching. I am AngryBird. I will see you next time.